Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. Before we call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Stephen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have members of our junior ROTC with us tonight. Let's go do that.
Pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a moment of silence. Respectful of that. Thank you. Next item is student spotlight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, first, we want to recognize the students in Ms. Harless. Where is Ms. Harless? Yeah, come on in. Ms. Chafee. Come on up. I'd like you to first share the student achievement with the board and the audience, please. Recognition here.
Okay, yeah. My students, they competed against middle school and high school in regional competition for Region 11, and they won, and we had several winners there, including, kids that aren't here this evening that won. And then we went on to state competition to compete against all the schools in Kentucky and so did tongues. And then the kids that you're going to see this evening are all the ones that went on to national competition, and thanks to help other than what we raised money for, Mr. Haney and the board, Mr. Haney was very, very good with my kids. And they got to go to San Antonio, Texas and compete in national competition, where they competed with over 4,000 other students across the nation, and they came home winners. And I'm very, very, very proud of them.
Well, I'm just going to talk just a little bit about the competitions that my students participated in. Michaela Jude, she participated in interpersonal communications, and her job was to communicate with different types of technology, how that she worked with Relay for Life. And so she communicated to our community, to our school, to families, the importance of Relay for Life and how it's going to help each one of our family members. In my other group, they were with Chapter Service Display, which was a community service project, and it was Courtney Maynard and Jonathan Young, and theirs was on organ donation. And so they had several people to sign up to be organ donors. And I learned a lot myself because I did not realize one person that's an organ donor can save 8 lives. Could be our family members. So I'm very proud of them. They did an awesome job.
And I'll give you your certificate, and just right here and stay standing in front until we're finished.
Okay.
I'll read the first certificate again. Martin County Schools Student Spotlight, and this certificate is awarded to and each student I will name for exemplifying the value of a Martin County education. We really appreciate our students not only going beyond our county borders and regional, but also the state, and the support that Mr. Haney and all the other principals and this board gave a few months ago to support their trip down there is certainly appreciated, and our students did an outstanding job, so we're very proud of them. So the first certificate, Megan Harless. Macy Harless. Hannah Brooke Hammonds. Okay, Holly Blackburn.
Macy and Megan participated in a project, and we do it in our classroom also. We collect pop tabs and stuff for cancer, and we do several projects for cancer throughout the year. My dad died of cancer, and they've had cancer in their family, so it's been a big thing for us. And our kids, throughout a school-wide project with Mr. Haney and all the teachers participating, we collected several pop tabs, and their project was the environmental dust store, and they won gold. So. And Brooke, I haven't had a kid that worked no harder than she has. I mean, everything you ask her to do, she does it. Our kids is 80+ members strong at Martin County Middle, and every time I asked her, come rain, sleet, or snow, she was there on the spot to do any kind of community service I asked. So I wanted to let her.
Kayla Jude. Courtney Maynard. Jonathan Young. Carol Chafin. That's you. And Miss Connie Harless. I'm very proud of our students and also the teachers that sponsor them. So I've always been quick to say that, you know, if you want to impress a student, our kids show up beyond the school day. And this is the kind of effort that when we put in, this is the result that we get from it. So investing in kids' lives is what makes it all worthwhile. And certainly these kids, under good leadership and good sponsorship, have demonstrated that there's great value in Martin County education. We're very proud of it.
Mr. Members, we all stand with them. Connie, stand
Connie, you get in here.
Let me get my big hand out of the way.
Right here.
Kim, you getting in there?
No, I'm getting my big head out.
What are you getting in?
Everybody look this way. A good one. Okay. Good job. Thank you.
Give another round of applause.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
And our next group, we want to recognize some faculty and staff members that we have. And Marcy, would you like to come up? Put you on the spot. Just share a little bit with the board and with the audience about our summer program, summer feeding program.
Okay, this year we did something that we had been wanting to do for several years. We finally put a mobile feeding site together. And if all of you don't know, we use the big blue bus that's sat at the community center. And it was a very successful program. It was, God just really blessed us to get out there and feed a lot of kids that really, really needed it. I think they fed over 2,000 meals in the 4.5 weeks that they operated. I think there's not a whole lot of the staff that's here. Tammy Gerald, she was their driver, and she was just excellent. She just took ownership of the program and just really, she really made it work.
If they're here. Loretta Mott?
Her brother was here.
Tammy Gerald. Is she out there? Rebecca Jude.
And those were the 3 ladies that were on the bus and saw the kids every day, and they just really, they had some wonderful stories to tell. I wish they could have been here to share some with you.
Angie Smith.
Angie is here. program at the high school. She does an excellent job with it. Couldn't do it without her.
I have to say that it is one of the most rewarding jobs that I've ever had. The kids are, the bus drivers would come back in of the day and you would just listen. Some days we would cry. Some days we would laugh about the stories they would tell. But it was just a great time.
Peggy Kirk,
Would you mind if you move us here?
Judy Thacker, and Amy Edmond. All right, let's give all those folks a round of applause.
We had some pictures to share.
And share with folks in front that came down.
Oh, yes, we had, because mobile feeding sites are so new to the state, we had a visitor from KDE that came and rode the site. Her name was Kathy Gallagher, and she was just so touched by our outreach. The email that she sent brought tears to my eyes of what a big impact it had on her, riding around in our community and seeing the need and just realizing what we had done to put that bus out there. So she will use our site as a model to a lot of the Appalachian areas that are wanting to do that in the future. But we had a few pictures of the kids on the bus. This next picture, big smile. That's, that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
I'd just like to comment, if that's okay. I commend Marcy and of course the other people, and I'm very appreciative, and I know our community is also. And I know Mr. Meadows, when he first came here, wanted to get that big blue bus on the road, and I'm glad it happened. And I appreciate Marcy on getting the after-school dining, and of course I wanted at more schools. Ms. Preston, I want you and Marcy to get together on that after-school dining program. And I just think it's super, and I'm really happy for our kids, and you do a great job, and I want you to know I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Discussion and possible action on July 14, July 24th, and July 31, 2014 board minutes. Also discussion and possible action on treasurer's orders in the amount of $268,831.71 and paid warrants in the amount of $483,081.39. Also approval of trip, vehicle, and use of district property requests, which listed on the agenda, none at this time. I need a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll make it a motion.
Have a motion, need a second?
I'll second it.
Motion second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, one opposed. Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on superintendent matters.
I'll be happy to respond to any questions on yours. First for the hires, classified and certified.
Any discussion, I need a motion.
Well, my thing is,
I'm sorry.
why, can I ask something? Why is this even on the agenda for each meeting? Because it deals with personnel and everything, we can't, I mean, is it just a formality or?
No, it's a requirement. I have to report those.
Okay.
It's just a reporting. Need a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on hiring an additional teacher at Warfield Elementary School contingent on available Title I funds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Quillen is here this evening for any questions, but he's demonstrated based upon a need for reduction in class and his availability of funds made through the Title I grant funding program that he and his site base would like to add another teacher. Terry?
Yes. We have enough funds in Title I to be able to hire a lower pay scale teacher we had last year. She gets her job back. And that's what I'd like to do. And then we have the funding available.
Sounds good to me.
Is there any discussion by the board?
It's to lower class size.
A little question. Well, I make a motion.
It's better to have 20 in a class than 33 in a class. And that's the bottom
I
line.
think it's great we got the opportunity to help you, not just help you, but also our kids. It's our main priority. So I'll make a motion.
Have a motion to approve, need a second?
I'll say.
Motion and second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is discussion and possible action on hiring an additional teacher at Eden Elementary School, continuing on budget Title I funds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Same thing, similar circumstances here for Ms. Preston.
Yes, we had a split 4th and 5th, and we would like also to reduce the class size and not have a split especially. We do have the money in Title I for a beginning teacher, along with some other things that we've planned at site basis plan for our Title I money, but mainly is to reduce class size that we won't have a split.
You got any discussion by the board? No, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion, need a second?
I'll say.
Motion and second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on Kisbit repayment of $428,148.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As was discussed in the working session, Ms. Sloan presented, if you look on the yellow sheet, most districts, as there's been some discussion and correspondence between superintendents in the state of Kentucky, and all districts are affected by this, are selecting the 25% up front, which we all must do. Depends on how we want to pay it back after that, whether we want to take a 10-year plan or a 15-year plan. If we take the 10-year plan, based on what what our contribution will be, is $129,000 in interest, $941, and 15-year is $252,000. Based on my discussions with Ms. Sloan and the condition of our financial status, I'm recommending the board to do the 25% and then the 6 payments thereafter with no interest. The biggest chunk is the first payment. Either way, it's going to.
But you're saving
do that?
$29,000 in.
We can.
So if we can afford it,
Yeah.
recommend it, I'll say. Let's do it.
Okay.
And it's going to be how many, 7 years, right?
Yes. This initial payment and then 6 years after that.
Yeah. And if we go, 3 more years, we're going to have to pay $129,000 interest. I'd rather do the no interest.
And for the audience, if you have an agenda, it's item number 10. You'll see a total there, $428,128. Also included on top of that is for the workers' comp only for our contribution. There's also a property and liability contribution of $124,000. So it brings the total, if you want to pencil that in on your agenda, the total is, and this is what the board has received in the working session, at $552,359. And just briefly saying that all districts across the state of Kentucky that carried, I must caveat there, Kisbit Insurance are making these contributions as it's been put to us for their assessments. And also there's $5.5 million, the board was informed, that is still in the courts to be settled. So we may have a portion of that to pay as well.
Any further discussion? I'll need a motion to approve. And just for clarification, the motion is for the installment plan with no interest.
Yeah.
Also need a second.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, number 11, discussion and possible action on B.O.E. for the construction of a new high school in the amount of $31,650,000.
If you have that copy in front of you, this is pretty exciting, and I know the board's excited about it. We have, just for the audience and for the board as well, we penciled in a kickoff for our construction design phase around the 1st of September. The community will be notified of that to where we can have our architect, our general manager, the board, and folks get together to where we can put a stake in the ground and move forward. But on the BG1 that's being recommended, it brings it up to $31,650,000. A couple of areas that I do want to point out, this has been run through our legal. It's also run through KDE as well as our bonding agent, Joe Vance and Bob Tarvin. But this BG1, if you'll look at number 7 on site acquisition, it's 0. I've requested meeting with the Economic Development Board sometime this week, if possible, early next week, if we can, to determine how the property will be conveyed to the board. And that's what we're waiting on for KDE to approve the site. We first have to determine when it's going to be conveyed, how it's going to be conveyed, the size of the property, and the utilities. So that's a 0 on the site acquisition. If there is $1, it recalculates the entire financial scheme here on the BG1.
Okay, where's that at on here?
Number 7 on the left-hand side, on the left-hand column there. Are you looking at this one here?
No.
BG1.
You got it wrong.
Is it going to be on his, it's an attachment?
I don't think I have anything.
It's in the attachment.
Huh?
On your KSBA, in attachment.
Okay. Okay, 0 site acquisition, okay.
You'll also see number 6, construction contingencies. That's set by KDE at a percentage, so that's a $1.3 million in contingencies. Let's look at it as a reserve.
What is it, about 5%?
Yes. Also, the equipment furnishings, equipment computers, again, they're a little low, especially on the computers, and well, both of them. You're looking at $500,000. But we're making those plans now. For instance, we surplus the property. The bid that we took in for $12,000, we turned around the next day and bought $12,000 worth of new furniture for a high school. Because in 2 or 3 years when we move in, we don't want to wait till we open up a new high school to find out or determine how we're going to buy new furniture. Also, we have, as I've shared with the board, Dr. Winkler and Ms. Williams, we've agreed to escrow the SEEK funds that go towards the facilities and maintenance of the ATC building, and that money will be escrowed for the ATC equipment and resources. The biggest thing I wanted to emphasize there is number 7, site acquisition. That could change. We don't expect it to, but it could.
What about this, the site utilities and tap fee? That's for water and things, are we going to have to?
Yes, sir. What number is that?
That's number 14. Are we going to have to?
That's a little low too, Gary. I'm glad you pointed that out. As the property is going to be conveyed, as I understand, or as has been discussed, right now it still is in the ownership of the transportation cabinet. It will be conveyed to the fiscal court, and then the fiscal court will convey it to the Economic Development Board, and the Economic Development Board will convey it to the school district.
Okay, are we going to have to put a water tank up there? Or is that
somebody's going to?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's one of the highest elevations in Martin County.
Yeah, are we going to have to do that for the water district, or?
Well, that'll be determined when we get the property and what condition it's going to be in. I will say that that site has been planned for probably 8 to 10 years, is what I understand, for the future economic development side of Martin County, not just for the school. I think the school was just kind of a bonus put up there. So I would think that it's going to be at least a shared responsibility cost.
Okay, so we'll have to pay part of those. Okay.
Further
I
discussion?
think, I'd say it's an exciting time, and I'm glad they're having to kick off September, because I've had several people, maybe some people here thought, we still going to get our new school, and certainly are, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure our kids will be excited about it.
Need a motion to approve the BG1 for the new high school.
I like a motion.
Booth thought somebody jumped on that.
You made
Gary's made a
a
motion, and he's
Yeah, I'll second it, I'll second it.
Roger second. On favor, indicate by saying aye.
We're in the property.
Any opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion of possible action on transferring balance from Miners Elementary addition in the amount of $79,890.82 to Sheldon Park High School emergency move project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This, the expenditures and the discussion to make that happen was approved, I believe, last fall, was it, Tammy?
Yes, we just have to have the transfer approved.
We just need a board order that the board approved that.
And that is where the $147,000 came from to do the emergency move from the old high school to the new.
It wasn't that much, was it?
It was,
Well, the one expense for the movers was $98,000.
and then,
We would hope that that's the obligation.
and then there was money to do petitions and sign and pavement. That was all in that construction project.
Okay, so we need a motion to transfer balance from Miners Elementary addition to $79,890.82.
Is there a dead, I mean, there's a deadline?
This was a BG1 already, this was a BG already approved. That had already been approved. They just didn't transfer the money.
This amount was a residual amount that's bonded out on those additions, and that work is completed on the schools, so we asked for approval. KDE would allow us to use that for moving because we didn't have any money.
And there is a final construction report that we can make, the board aware of detail of all the expenditures. That's just final closing it out, and everything's on there to all the vendors and to what it was for. And it was included on the BG that was approved by the state.
I'll make a motion that we transfer.
Have a motion, any second?
I'll second.
Motion second, on favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion of possible action on transferring $227,631.56 from KSF to CC escrow from building fund to construction fund to the Martin County roofing project.
In board, if you recall, when Mr. Bob Carvin came down, we talked about the school facilities construction that we need to wean ourselves from, and that we use, and this is the amount that it's taken over, isn't it?
This 227 has been sitting in escrow on our building fund balance sheet, and it has been left over for different amounts that we haven't had to pay bonds for. So it's set there. So when the project came open to do the roof at Martin County Middle, it was decided to utilize that money that was in escrow to put the roof on Martin County Middle. So now we just need to take it, and it was SFCC approved, take it from the building fund and move it to the construction fund so that we can pay our construction bills
For the roof on the middle.
Yes.
for the roof on the Martin County Middle. And it was money that we had already.
I need a motion to approve that transfer. I have a motion, need a second.
I'll second. Can I ask, when will they start on the roof?
Next Monday.
That's great, that's great. I know we'd like to already had it, we'd like to have got it done.
We'll talk about under reports. We'll discuss how we met today. Thank you.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion of possible action on transferring balance from Warfield Elementary Edition in the amount of $66,060.67 to Sheldon Park High School emergency move project.
That's basically the same thing, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
147.
Yeah, I make a motion to go ahead.
Have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, discussion and possible action on first reading of the random drug policy of certified classified.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think members received those on your attachments on the KSBA site. This will be the first reading, so if you have, as you go through that between now and our next meeting, we'll approve that.
Does this include all
Yes,
all
ma'am.
certified district officers.
Well, this is what I asked also when I talked to Mr. Meadows. I don't know whether it's legal or not, but I'd also like to include board members on this, if possible.
And with my discussions with Mr. Harless, I thought that was a legal question, I didn't think. But we can research that.
We can get an answer for that.
I think if we're gonna do it,
Yeah, should be everybody.
Does that mean everybody on the board?
That means everybody
On the
now.
table?
it's everybody.
Okay, that's my understanding too, this is going to be for students, it's not going to be for students, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, but it just says here for random drug policy of both certified and classified employees, it doesn't mention students.
The policy includes the students.
Okay, well, it don't reflect it here. The only thing I've got, I don't, can I reconsider this? I don't have problems with classified certified employees. I do have problems with students because employees have certain things, you know, they have certain options that are open to them as far as redemptive, you know, treatments and stuff like that. The thing that I fear that it would be punitive for students. Do you know what I mean? Have a kid test positive for marijuana that's a good athlete, and the athlete, you know, you know, he's going to be told he can't play football or basketball or anything like that. And two, you know, one of the things,
I understand what you're saying, Gary. I've been there. I coached at Tug Valley. That happened to an all-stater.
yeah,
Of course, he had to, but I think, and I don't know, and as far as the drug policy, there's some questions that I have, but I'm saying, I know the reasoning behind it. You know, I've thought as far as the invasion of privacy, which I kind of believe that. I don't know what the extent of the problem in our school system. I do know that we have problems. I know other counties have a drug problem the same as ours. And I would like to see, and I think everybody in this room would like to see, not only our school system rid of drugs, but also our county rid of drugs.
yeah.
And, you know, if Mr. Meadows, a majority of the board in favor, I know you were at first and I wasn't, and it's kind of flip-flop.
Yeah, flip-flop.
But I'll go along and, like I said, implement the policy if it's needed. I feel that everyone, including board members, are to be tested. That's my, and you'll.
Well, I think with employees, not with students, for this reason. I mean, in my junior and senior year, I would have tested positive. I mean, I know that. I mean, that's a bad thing to say. It's a bad thing to do.
Kids will try anything.
Well, no, the thing about it is that, okay, here's the thing about it. With kids, they're just punished.
What is their punishment if they test positive?
Well, if they're punished, you know, their thing could be that if they play basketball or football, they'd be barred from playing. And basketball, football might be the only thing that
Come on
keeps
now,
them in school.
if they're in that click thing, they will be punished.
Let's
What's the difference between a football player and a student citizen?
Exactly.
That's exactly, that's right. Well,
It's according to who you are.
I'm saying,
This is one thing.
According to who you are.
Policy, what the punishment or what the rules are, is like my kid that I had.
Should be for everybody.
Would have to be suspended.
Yeah, it's for everybody.
Was suspended for it, you know, he learned a valuable lesson, and he was suspended for 3 or 4 games. And, you know, but that's, I don't know.
well, the thing I'm saying is, you know, I used to football or basketball player, could be a bandstand, it could be whatever. It could be whatever student. And that kid is, okay, you know, here's the thing. When I was a senior in high school, I got caught smuggling a pound of bourbon on a band bus. Guess what happened to me? I was kicked out of school. I mean, I was kicked out of the band. I wasn't expelled. I wasn't suspended. In my junior year, I was up for a scholarship, a music scholarship at Morehead State. And that cost me very dearly. I'd have much rather they kicked me out of school and let me stay in the band. But for me, there wasn't that option. You know, I just happened to be in, the principal happened to be on the bus when the bus broke down. and the principal made an example out of me. Was it right? No, if I shouldn't have done it. I was 17 years old, I was a stupid kid. I don't want to see that happen to other kids that may have something. I think parents should know if a kid has, if you've been tested for marijuana, if you test positive for marijuana and stuff like that, keep it between the parents and the school. Don't punish the kid.
Well, why can't we find something, some kind of rehab help for that child? Instead of kicking them out and throwing them to the curb.
Well, that's what I'm saying. With teachers don't
If I
have.
may interject, a couple things. First, I want to apologize to the board. It is the classified and the certified tonight only. It's not the student. But coming to the student, and I'll defer to our attorney here, but the lower expectation, when I said it's for all students, it's not for all students. It's only for those who have a lower expectation of privacy. So any child who has...
What does that mean?
What's that mean?
What does it mean?
Right. Any extracurricular activities that could include the privilege of being able to drive, but anything, and it's pretty expansive. If a kid is involved in FBLA, if the kid is involved in football, it really gets a very high percentage. But the courts, and Mr. Shaw, would you like to fully explain that?
Generally, as long as it's tied to an extracurricular activity, some courts in other states have approved drug testing before they can attend their prom, or drug testing before, you can attend a school dance or something of that nature. Those types of restrictions haven't really been courts yet.
Okay,
But technically, that's not where
okay, but hang on a
trouble
second.
kids are.
The things are, you think for the students are punitive. In other words, they don't get to do, they don't get to do, they don't get to do.
Well, that's the second
Exactly.
part. That's the second part, and it's very important. That's a very important point. The policy is not for punishment; it's a deterrent. And if only if there's a presence of the illegal substance or the marijuana or whatever it may be. But if a kid pops positive, our response is to help. It's for referrals. It's to get the child help. It's not to punish them and get rid of them or get them out of our school. It's a deterrent, but it's also to get the child help. We're not in the punishment business. That's what the policy states.
But if they do these, the terms you all use, okay, what was that?
Lower expectation for us.
Yeah.
Is that for every kid?
But
Every
that could keep this kid from participating in certain things like FBLA or band or football or things like
Well, it
that.
depends on the policy you approve.
The students are not in this motion tonight. It's classified service.
And who decides who gets drug tested?
It's random.
Who decides that? Like, who picks the child that says that child's going to be drug
They'll be,
tested?
in the policy, we pick the same way the classified staff. It's completely random. It's by number, and it's who the board will contract with.
Someone will be pulled from Frankfurt.
We don't, no, it's whoever we contract with. If the board does not, we do not, the school does not pick the numbers. It's not a lottery that we have control over. It's completely random by whoever the contractor is that the board wants to do that. But again, tonight, it's just the classified and certified. It's not the student policy in here tonight.
It's not teachers, students. That's Craig.
Craig, who do you get contracted with for the classified now? How do they randomly choose the classified people to take their drug test now?
It's just bus drivers only. That's a requirement. Yeah, that's a DOT requirement. You guys have it every year. Ford Edge.
I was there for twice in less than a month.
Mr. Chair, what is the projected cost of this program?
It's about $3,000 to $6,000 is what we have, until we can enter the negotiations with a provider, but it's around $3,000 to $6,000, depending upon the number of random checks that are made.
Okay, do any of our surrounding counties, Johnson County, Lawrence County, anything have these?
Yes.
Okay.
I need a motion to approve the random drug policy of both certified and classified employees.
Is this a deal, this policy, is it in compliance with the private life section in your collective bargaining agreement?
Under what section? I'm not sure what.
With all due respect, that's not my job to tell you. You get paid for that.
Okay.
You have a collective bargaining agreement,
I'd be glad to look at it.
and you have a private life clause.
Under your collective bargaining agreement?
Yes.
It probably would be. Drug testing of employees, especially those employees in any type of a safety-sensitive position, that's been pretty much upheld in all courts.
So you're 100% sure it won't interfere with anything in that collective bargaining agreement?
Well, I'd have to see your agreement, I'd have to see your policy, I've not seen it.
Well, then I don't think they should vote on it if you don't know if it's in that. I mean, they should have supplied you with that info.
That's true.
And I don't think that.
Mr. Schmidt has been supplied with, in fact, he's the one that gave us the copy of Floyd. So this is the first reading, it's not enacted yet.
I need a motion to approve.
No.
First reading.
Well, have we seen, I don't want to get in trouble. That's my opinion. I don't want to.
Nothing will be enacted, this is only the first reading. It's all.
No, but I'd rather wait even until we have the first reading, till we have.
I'm for the, I don't care, take it myself, but
Not anything.
I just don't want to get in trouble.
If Mike sent it to you, it's correct, I can just about guarantee you that, so.
Yes.
Did I get it?
It should have been attached on the KSBA.
We should have got paid again.
Would tend to agree with you. I just don't know.
Okay, so nobody wants to make a motion to approve?
I'll
make a motion.
You make a
I
motion?
know.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor, keep saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Well,
We have
till I get their, I asked for it a year or two ago, their,
It's just first reading.
bargaining, or what is it, Tim? I'm trying to say, your
Collective bargaining
contract,
agreement?
yeah. I'd like to see it.
Just make it clear that this is first reading.
It is.
Well, it doesn't matter, I still like to see it.
Okay, we have 3 yeses, 1 no,
Two.
2
Two
no.
no.
So I see what.
Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action on first reading of classified hiring policy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Kirk? Ms. Kirk out there? Mr. Kirk?
You're up.
The revenue policy? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That'll be next, I'm sorry. The classified hiring policy, the change, if you'll look at the hiring, the posted vacancies on the second page, 2 of 3. The original policy states this: under procedures developed by the superintendent, listing of all district job openings shall be posted in central office and in each school building on a timely basis. I shall refer interested parties to the central office job register for additional information. What I propose adding, because there is no KRS, there's no requirement, unless an emergency exists, a vacancy will be posted for a minimum of 14 calendar days prior to the filling of the position. As it currently exists, there's no timeline for it to be posted. Since I've been in this district, my practice has been 14 days unless emergency exists, and that is when, if it's going to be an interruption to student services, much like the teachers.
Any discussion on the first
Can
reading?
you repeat that one more time, please?
Classified hiring.
The proposed language that I recommend to place on this, since there is no limit, or there's no limitation or time on the policy. There's no KRS that requires it either. Unless an emergency exists, a vacancy will be posted for a minimum of 14 calendar days prior to filling the position. And since I've been in this district, I've subscribed to that practice. It is a pretty standard practice.
Good practice.
Okay. Any further discussion? No, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Motion, need a second.
I'll second it.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Again, that is the first reading. You'll see it next board meeting as well.
Item 12, discussion and possible action on classified duty-free lunch.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I believe everyone received the language from Mr. Mike Schmidt today.
Two board members need a hot water.
I can read that motion or the language that he said. Yes, please. Motion regarding hourly wage employee lunch. In order to bring our district into compliance with federal labor law and the Kentucky Constitution, in order to avoid an increased burden on the district's financial status, I move that we increase the hourly rate, but decrease the number of hours presently contracted for those contracts employees who work in excess of 5 hours per day. The adjustment should result in no change in compensation and no increase in the number of hours at the duty location, and as a result, the employee would then have a duty-free 30-minute lunch. For example, an employee contracted for 8 hours would be reduced to 7.5 hours. An employee with 6 hours would be contract would be reduced to 5.5 hours per day. In no case will any affected employee experience a reduction in pay or an decrease in duty hours worked. And again, this will place the district in compliance with federal labor law and the Kentucky Constitution.
So that basically means the same amount of money that they would have made in an
Yes, sir.
8-hour day.
Will not change.
It'll be a.
Well, per their contract,
Yeah.
no employee will be decreased.
So you get your 8 hours?
So you're gonna make the same money.
Okay.
Yeah, this, I'll get you.
This
This is a,
minutes longer.
excuse me, this is a wash for, and a step in the right direction for classified people. And like Mr. Meadows pointed out, of course, he's mentioned numerous times to me, and hopefully, you know, in due time, we can get a, and he's expressed that he wants to increase in pay, but this is a step in the right direction. You're gonna get the same pay, and you're gonna get the duty-free lunch, and for the, you know, 30 minutes less time. I mean, it's a step in the right direction, and I hope, and I'm sure you'll appreciate it. And like I said, we're striving to get our classified people an increase in pay, and so, say it.
I got a question.
What, that's correct.
We're getting,
Huh?
we work 8 hours to get our 7.5.
Right.
That way we don't get free lunch.
You're gonna let me explain. You're gonna get your free lunch, and the 30 minutes is gonna be, you're gonna get an hourly increase to make up for
When
that.
we gonna get another increase?
Well, the hourly increase isn't though, it's not in numbers on this vote, why?
Let me take a
Why
step.
isn't the number?
But we've already signed our contracts.
We're
How can
working
they
8 hours
change
to
them?
get 7.5 hours. That way we can get our free lunch, as we're called.
Okay, that's
But
what
you're working the same, well, actually, you're working 30 minutes less.
We're working 30 minutes more, I don't know what you're.
Well, you're gonna get the same.
Let me just start playing out
I don't know where y'all getting your math.
What she's saying, Roger, is they're already doing what he's proposing, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're working
Okay.
8 hours a day, but
Yeah.
we're getting paid for 7.5.
So you're already working that extra time to
Yeah.
try to do
Yeah.
it. That's what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, you're going
Okay,
back.
but you're not gonna have to work that extra time no more.
No.
And your rate of pay
Yeah.
is gonna increase.
Yeah, you're
Is everybody-
you're working, instead of 8, you're working 7.5, you get the same pay, plus you get a duty-free lunch. That's gotta be better.
Your board is giving you a raise.
We've always had a duty free.
And a duty-free lunch.
We've always had.
Okay, you ma'am, have you been coming in your 30 minutes earlier to get your 8 hours?
No, we can't stand 30 minutes late.
Okay, well, same thing, same difference, you're not gonna have to do that anymore.
Well, this is no increase in that.
You're not gonna have to do that, and you're gonna get paid the same amount of money.
That
just started this year.
They didn't do
it last year.
Well, I'm sorry.
They didn't do that last year.
Well, no, we're just doing.
But you didn't have a duty-free lunch. Now you got a duty-free lunch, plus you're gonna get the same amount of pay. Correct?
They had 30 minutes off for dinner.
Not really.
Let me start.
No, you don't, because my sister-in-law's an aide, and if a teacher came to her and she's eating lunch and said, I need you to watch so-and-so's class, she had to go. There was no duty-free lunch. Now,
Do you get lunch break or what?
Pretty much, I'll tell you what I had today, and I got out my car at 6 o'clock in the morning and not sit down and get until 4 o'clock.
They ain't gonna do that.
I have done that a million times.
Okay, at the beginning of this year, contracts were signed, no later than 1 July, I believe. I think there may have been a couple of folks that were out of town. My discussions with the board, with legal, is that the district has always been out of compliance with federal labor laws. and also the Kentucky Constitution, you can't compensate employees for services not rendered. And so we had to fix that. And so what I shared with our principals is to adjust those schedules of the certified employees affected to where it was either 15 minutes earlier or 15 minutes later, and making sure that you had a duty-free lunch. Again, the reports I were getting, you know, some people had to get up, as Mr. Ball just described. We didn't want that. Federal labor law comes in pretty strong on that. We don't want anybody working on a duty-free lunch. And so my initial fix for this was to do the 15 minutes earlier or 15 minutes later or 30 minutes in the afternoon or 30 minutes in the morning, so that we would be in compliance with federal labor law and Kentucky Constitution. After discussions with the board and with our legal representation, this was a good compromise to ensure that there was no increase in pay, and this is the board's prerogative. And there were several options that were discussed, but this is the best one. And it, again, as Mr. Harles said, it is a step in the right direction because it actually increases your hourly rate. It's not going to change the number of hours that you're expected to work. You get a duty-free lunch, meaning you can leave the building, come back just like certified staff, but it does increase your hourly pay. Now, you may not think that's significant now, but as we move along, especially as we get a 2% increase next year, it's going to make a significant difference. And hopefully, as we go forward, as Mr. Harles just stated, and the board has discussed and encouraged, one of our priorities is to ensure that we are able to inject an increase in our classified salary schedules. In order to do that, we need to make sure that we can sustain that. And if I can just take the opportunity, we're doing very well. Tammy's going to give a good report here in just a moment. We're doing very well. We've got money in the bank, but please keep in mind that when we budget in our finances, that we don't look at what we have, we look at our revenues coming in. That's how we sustain. It's just much like if you're going to go buy a car, and the banker looks at you, the car guy looks at you and goes, well, how much money do you make? It's not how much you have in the bank unless you're going to pay cash for it. Most of us in here, I think, we make enough payments. So the bank, the lender, is interested in how much revenue that we're bringing in, because that's how we sustain and we're able to make the payments. So if we increase salaries, we want to make sure that we have the revenues coming in, that we're able to sustain that, and we don't have to take a step back as we did last year. We came close to a reduction, and we held the board had to hold the increase in step pay because we didn't have the money at the time to do it. So we don't want to get our district back in the situation of not being able to sustain a pay increase. But we're in a good position now. We're in a good position to where we can at least consider. And I think hopefully the district finds that to be an accomplishment, something to celebrate, that 12 months later, after being $1 million in a hole, that we're able to at least consider and talk about an increase that's not mandated, or someone's not making us do it, that we can do that for a classified schedule. And that's what this board, it's one of the goals that this board and I discussed when I first got here. So this is a step in the right direction.
Okay, can I ask you a question, because I see you shaking your head, but okay, you know what? Do you understand that what you're going to get is you're going to get the same amount of money that you got in 8 hours by working 7.5 hours? Huh? Okay, all right.
They work 7.5 hours.
Yeah. They work 7.5 hours.
Then you're saying they're going to work 7, but you all are going to give them a raise. Now, let's put it in plain words. If you all are going to give them a raise to work 7 hours, that would equal 7.5.
That's right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, 8 hours, okay, if you're an 8 hour.
That's plain words.
Okay, I appreciate it, John.
Yeah.
And I was happy for you because, hey, you're working less, you're getting a free duty, and you're making the same amount of money, like Mr. Meadows said. And when I ran for board, one of my plans was to get better for our classified. We're going to strive to do that. We're going to do our very best. I promise.
Okay, can we do? Can we work 7 hours?
You all add 7.5.
Okay,
so they're going to work 7. Now that's 7.5, and they're going to get the same amount of pay.
Well, we can do that.
Now See, now, Clayton wears a sweater and all that there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, okay, can we, all
Put
right,
it down where the classified can understand.
You can understand it, sounds like you're.
Is there a motion to approve that?
well, only one thing I want to add, to that. I do make a motion to approve, but I think, because a lot of these employees have had to come in since the school year began, half hour early, or leave a half hour late, or 15 minutes early, 15
When
minutes.
was that approved?
We were told to.
When was that approved?
But
Well,
They said you just started that this year?
yeah, that's been, the principals, is that, okay, do we have any principals here? All right.
They're all here tonight.
Hang on a second, have you had your classified workers come in 30 minutes early or leave 30 minutes late?
yes, sir.
To get their pay, right?
Yes, sir.
But,
All right, can I,
but no more.
okay, can I ask one
But the
more?
board never approved that extra half hour that they had to.
Well, here's the thing about, that was the thing, I will make the motion if we make any pay increase, hourly pay increase, retroactive to the beginning of the school year. That means that we've required these people to come in a half hour early, which is their time. And I think that people should be compensated for their time, even if it was, it's not been a long time, we're not talking about a whole lot of folks, and I realize this could put the 8-hour employees in overtime, but that's the way that that's the way that it should be.
Well, all the board
Can
members
I do
don't
that?
know about this. Yeah.
Hey, Gary,
Yes.
could we do this motion and then get advice with legal? We can come back and do the retroactive.
Tell them,
I'm
Tim's
concerned if we don't do the
on
retroactive, they won't get it.
But now, we don't know.
Well, you can do it
that.
anytime.
We'll have to speak up.
Speak up, Tim.
Do it anytime.
We're not gonna acknowledge.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion with,
Whoa.
okay, so you can tell Mr. Smith that I think that these people
Did
should be
you hear
compensated.
what I said though? Did you hear what I said?
What?
He made them come in a half hour without board approval. Do you get that? He does not have the right to do that.
Did the board know anything about it?
No, we didn't know.
Did you
No, I
know,
didn't.
Coach?
I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't know.
So that ain't right.
So you're making a motion
Tim's got his hand up,
to
guys.
approve?
Well, you want to.
Like I said before, it's a wash for class. It's a wash.
Yeah, I want
You
to
come
classify
in
the heads.
early.
Okay, go.
Come on.
Mr. Chairman's up to you.
You make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Hello? Hello?
Motion, need a second?
No.
Can we find out
What Tim wants?
what Mr. Southern wants?
My arm's getting tired, Mr. Priest.
Yeah.
In 2004, we entered into an agreement with the former superintendent, because the teachers weren't getting their duty-free lunch. There's a provision in both federal and state statute that says if you enter that agreement, you're fine. So we weren't out of compliance. The thing that bugs me here is, and I was actually with 2 board members that they couldn't even have lunch because people were bombarding them with that question. So why did this, I'm going to take it's a lack of communications, because I didn't see no action until August 6th, I sent your superintendent an email asking, requested to be put on the agenda because our folks were all tore up. All tore up. Why do we want to send these people that make $8 an hour worrying about how they're going to buy a 39-cent box of Kraft macaroni or whatever kind that they have? Why do we put them through this torment?
Yeah.
Why?
Tim, does this fix the problem?
We did.
I'm sorry?
Does this fix the problem? Does this fix the issue?
The board
Does
did.
it fix the issue? Oh, absolutely it does. I'm just asking why, although they're entitled to go back, like Gary said, they're entitled to go back and get that. They can do, you can either pay them now or they can call federal or state wage and hour and get it because they actually worked for a time that they should have been paid for. Now, the thing is if you recall over a year ago, I told you all, these folks are being told, change your timesheet. Don't write this down. Still going on. Now, I don't want no one raising your hand because then you're going to be that still goes on each and every day because they want to be in compliance, they want to keep their job. Whoever's sending these messages, write this down, or where, you know, you should have been going 3, so write 3 down. But they had to stay for 3:20 because a parent didn't show up. They're not getting paid for these times. A year ago I said that this is going on. Obviously it hasn't been addressed. I know the principals are stretched thin, but the aggravation, Craig, that some of these people, some of the telephone calls of people crying, I can't handle a half hour. That's sad, because we have people like that. We heard this wonderful lady back here that's feeding these people. What a great program. We have people that working for us that worry about that meal. And you send them home for 30 days thinking they're losing a half hour, and then they multiply it by, I don't know, I think you probably have 26 pay periods here. That's a scary, scary thought. Shame on your superintendent for not communicating that. Shame on your superintendent for not responding back to the email to know that it was going to be taken care of. So I could have shared this information with these folks that they are going to have that money. I applaud him for making sure that he's doing the right thing.
Okay. Like I say, I don't want to get involved, but I'd just like to say, you know, we appreciate what you guys do. You do a great job. And I know sometimes maybe you feel like I have as a teacher, as a coach, sometimes you feel like throwing up your hands and you know, just saying, what's the use? I've been there. But I'm telling you what, sometimes I look over and I see little Joey sitting there has wore a shirt for 4 or 5 days in a row. His little ankles were covered with black. And I'll tell you what, then I say, if he can do it, I can do it. And I appreciate what you guys do. And please keep doing the job you're doing, and we will take care of this man.
But yeah, like it seems to me we owe you money since he did it without board approval. He made you work a half hour. How many days? How many days?
Long time.
3, 4.
Just, okay,
Okay, that was not board approved. Board is over your hours, right?
Has it just been done this year?
It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about.
We didn't order that.
I know that we're talking about a little bit of money.
Another violation.
We're talking about a little bit of money.
No, it's a whole lot of money.
You guys, like I said, it's a step in the right direction. Let's move on.
Yeah. Backbone of education.
They took from you, so
Okay, we will.
All in favor, say aye.
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 We will pay your half hour.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is contract agreement between Martin County Board of Education and Johnson, Kentucky graduates.
Mr. Chairman, this is a small grant stipend to graduates. $10,000 to accept that. And that's the program at Marcy Hanson. There's a high school.
Need a motion to approve that contract?
I'll make a motion to approve that contract.
Have a motion, need a second? Got a second?
I'll take it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is a contract between Martin County Board of Education, Maria Carter Community Center for the fall John Clark High School Drama Club play, $600.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an agreement between the center and the high school. The women's drama department, they did a tremendous job down there last year. It was a great community involvement, engagement piece. And really cut us a break here down to almost custodial services.
We want to need a motion to approve that contract?
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion, need a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, good.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Next item on the agenda is reports, administrative staff reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Sloan will be the first to provide a financial report.
I thought he would be good about this.
County Board of Education, August 11, 2014 financial report. Our annual financial report, end of year balance, fiscal year 2014, and start of the year balance, fiscal year 15. Fund 1, our ending balance, and our beginning balance for this year, $838,094.31. Last year, our beginning balance in this current year was $125,771, so we've made a tremendous increase. Capital outlay is 0. We've expended that, transferred to general fund and also pay bond payments. Building fund, $227,631.56, and that money will be transferred, the board approved, to the construction fund of $360, which is now 0 balance since we've expended all the monies that were left in the building fund that was escrowed for the emergency move, Shelton Park High School. Food service, Fund 51, ending balance and beginning balance this year, $469,261.95. Fund 700, or Tudhill, $11,154. Expenditures versus revenues. 3-year snapshot of expenditures versus revenues. And I did this slide to give you an idea that we're just not looking at this year, but the next 2 years. What's affecting us now in fiscal year 15? What's affecting us next year, fiscal year 16, which is only 6 and 10 months away from setting a new budget for fiscal year 16. What will affect us for fiscal year 17? One-time revenue and expenses not recurring. These are monies that will not recur in our budget. Franchise tax, in previous years we received in fiscal year 14 of $354,000. Additional revenue from fiscal year 2014, the tax rate, we received $150,000. Loss of capital outlay, heating and roof, fiscal year 15, $181,000. Kisbet assessment due August 31st, $156,721, and that is what is affecting this year's budget. Driver salary change on the salary schedule, $35,000. Total decreased revenue and increased expenditures for fiscal year 15, $876,721. Revenue needed for fiscal year 16. Can we hold the line on spending for revenue needed for fiscal year 16? Because in fiscal year 2016, $180,000 will be needed for general fund for years experience raises. 2% state mandated will be $160,000. Carry over or carry forward, we will need to maintain $260,000. Kisbet assessment payments will be $90,781 in fiscal year 16. Total, $690,781. Fiscal year 2017, beginning just 2 fiscal years away, Kisbet installments is new, $90,781. Loss of capital outlay funds for operational costs, $181,000, because that will be included in our bond payments. So it goes away for any operational costs in general fund. Possible costs of moving, we need to look ahead and plan. Loss of additional state funding for SEEK. In the Kentucky state budget, they have budgeted more for the 1% mandated raise for this year, fiscal year 15, and a 2% mandated raise in their budget next year. But the third year, I hope that we are not caught unaware as we deal with the ERA money. There was an influx of money from the federal government, and then it was gone. So if we don't plan ahead for the next 2 years, that third year, we could be caught unaware and not prepared. Loss of revenue in state grants when state budgets decrease, third year. Possible loss of ADA or enrollment. New challenge going forward. Good stewards, can we hold the line on spending to prepare for the next 2 years? Any questions? You're welcome.
Thank you, Tammy. You're very thorough. I mean, I like it. You're really, really good.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Next time on the agenda is Martin County Education Report. Can you report that? Next time is school reports.
Okay, the Martin County Education Report, is that what you're talking about?
Last month I brought up about compensation, and because it was compensation and it was already in the past, you know, I didn't violate anything about personnel or nothing, but if the superintendent feels that I did, I would like to, my member and I, we have copies of everything, and we'd like to be able to go in closed session and present that to you. Or we can do it in the open, she's fine with that too.
It is her choice. You know, she wants it.
She would rather do it in closed tonight, she said.
Huh?
She would rather do it in closed session tonight, if it's okay with the board.
Okay. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Can we,
Why can't you do that?
can I ask this, Craig? You know, could we do the new business as the last item on the agenda before we go in there, but we don't have it? Can we skip, or do you
Well, I
want?
thought we'd just go ahead and go into it.
Okay, well, we can do that.
And come back.
Yeah.
Need a motion to go into closed session?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go to closed session.
Need a second?
Why are you going into closed session?
Yeah.
Okay, Craig, why are we going to discuss
Requested.
when
What are you
employee
discussing?
compensation, right? It's
Personnel matter.
the personnel. issue.
Compensation.
Compensation, personnel issue for an employee.
Everybody want a second? I'll second. Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We stand in closed session.